hurting. World full of busy bees working. I ain't never met a free person. I don't get along with these earthlings. I'm trying to seek purpose, fight for something I believe's worth it. Feel the curse, I'ma reverse it. I don't dream cause I sleep nervous. Yet I keep flirting, face death like a Steve Irwin. Whole heat, I'ma drink thermos. Tell the bartender keep serving. I'm trying to be perfect, using dirty shit to clean dirt with. Only happy when the weed burning. Traded oxygen to breathe herping. Till I see curtains, lungs fail and they cease working. Air is something that I need urgent. Suffocating, trying to squeeze words in. What would I do with my last breath? Would I yell? Would I cry? Would I laugh? Cause I'm glad that I'm past that mess. Till I pass, never felt that blessed. Even bad breath when you living is better than good breath. When you lack flesh, got a glass chest that I cracked and my lost breath hasn't made it back yet. I'm on my last breath, walking the last step. I'm on the last test, final answer and my last guess. Wonder what I gotta pass next. I'm on my last quest, so much harder than my last track. Mad blessed, hope I can outlast death. Grim Reaper got my address, down on my last cent. Cash spent from a check I don't even have yet from my last rent. Swear this shit has got me mad stressed. I inherited my dad's debt, never got to hear his last breath. And the only reason I ain't passed yet, I'm the first ever and the last left.
I let the record show, I let the tech explode. Put on the weapon show, pull up the Texaco, Narcos in Mexico. Call up the technical, then on the Texas blow. Shot to Plexico, turn you to vegetable. Body electrical, acid and alkaline. Body so flexible. The shooter's feast like a Uber Eats. Got a group of these suited, these scooter bees. While letting the Uzi Aruga speak. An American God up in Cuba eats. The powers they seek and powers the weak. They following creeps. Powers that be inherit the world from cowards and sheep. Been to the mountains, top towers and peaks. Flowers and sweets and showered our feet. The lightning and thunder, the shower to sleep. Shower the D's. This not a verse, this our receipts.
What would I do with my last breath? Would I yell? Would I cry? Would I laugh? Cause I'm glad that I'm past that mess. Till I pass, never felt that blessed. Even bad breath when you living is better than good breath. When you lack flesh, got a glass chest that I cracked and my lost breath hasn't made it back yet. I'm on my last breath, walking the last step. I'm on the last test, final answer and my last guess. Wonder what I gotta pass next. I'm on my last quest, so much harder than my last track. Mad blessed, hope I can outlast death. Grim Reaper got my address, down on my last cent. Cash spent from a check I don't even have yet from my last rent. Swear this shit has got me mad stressed. I inherited my dad's debt, never got to hear his last breath. And the only reason I ain't passed yet, I'm the first ever and the last left.
It's like a track finish. I attract women, they the bad women. I'ma splash in them, leave a bag with them. Then I raise seeds to be mad different. If I die now, I'm coming back in them. Cause they dad missing, but they cash dripping. Cause they royalty, so they brag different. Ain't no ass kissing, never had feelings. Seen a white victim and a black witness. Mac gripping on my last mission. Yak sipping, blowing blackism. Gat missing, he was lack slipping. Smack hit him, now we act different. Apparition, the bad vision. The Mac a chip him and crash the system. Uncle Tom, cause you that willing. Fuck the law, I'm going back to living. Astral prisms of black religions. Activisms of conversations. Sacrilegious, the palms of Satan. Black magicians, Babylon erasing. Raise our hands to the gods we praising. Hustling, the marathon we racing. Nipsey at the finish line, he waiting.
What would I do with my last breath? Would I yell? Would I cry? Would I laugh? Cause I'm glad that I'm past that mess. Till I pass, never felt that blessed. Even bad breath when you living is better than good breath. When you lack flesh, got a glass chest that I cracked and my lost breath hasn't made it back yet. I'm on my last breath, walking the last step. I'm on the last test, final answer and my last guess. Wonder what I gotta pass next. I'm on my last quest, so much harder than my last track. Mad blessed, hope I can outlast death. Grim Reaper got my address, down on my last cent. Cash spent from a check I don't even have yet from my last rent. Swear this shit has got me mad stressed. I inherited my dad's debt, never got to hear his last breath. And the only reason I ain't passed yet, I'm the first ever and the last left.
Whew. God damn, I wish I had my bombs. I would blow that one up. That right there, my friends, is the banger. One of the 12 bangers off of Holy Ghost 2, the album of the year. I see a lot of people moving around album of the years and whatnot, But this right here, my friends, is the album of the year. All right, Holy Ghost Part 2, Black Magic, and Kambada. All right, and it's so interesting that Blue, the god Blue, said the brother Nipsey's name, and the way that the ancestors speak. I got a thing across my screen that said Blue Pill is going live talking about Nipsey. Make sure y'all go and check that out when you finish watching this. So everything is in alignment. Today is a very special day. Today is a mystical day. Today is a portal day. Very interesting how we always find ourselves linking up on these portal days. It must be something magical about Thursdays, because we did 8-8 together. Now we're doing Nipsey's birthday, and we're doing the moon together. We're doing the ancestor moon, right? We're doing the ancestor moon tonight. Okay? We're gonna get to it. We're doing the ancestor moon. All right? I might burn one of these on film, on live tonight, just to send it up to the spirit of the ancestors, because tonight is that night. We'll close the show out talking about the ancestor moon, because we often open up the shows talking about the moon and things dealing with that. And I don't think people really, they get so much information later on, they'll forget about it. So we're going to close it out, because everybody is going to the same destination after you leave this show. You know what I'm talking about? You know, so getting that moon knowledge, getting that information about what this portal represents, that's very important. But moving forward, I gotta do yeah, look at that moon. That moon is fire. Okay? That moon is full. So the show tonight is full, because there's so much things going on. We're gonna have to comb through, and we have a lecture coming up, an online live stream on Sunday that I need y'all to be in the building. The link is finally live. I didn't, it was on me. There was something that I didn't do on the back page to make it go live. So now it's live, and I'm getting a lot of emails. People have been trying to buy tickets, but you could get it now. Let's do a roll call real quick. All right, let's do a roll call, and then we'll get with it. Okay. All right. So who's in the building? We got who's in the building? Okay, Far Rockaway, North Carolina, Las Vegas, Milwaukee, ATL, KTL and the ATL. Salute to Las Vegas. We have look, I have good news. The Eagle has landed. You know what I'm talking about? We have our DVD of the Las Vegas lecture. This is superb, magnanimous. All right, this thing right here is an instant classic. We did this in Las Vegas, from blackface to blueface. Okay, from black faces to blue faces. All right, so we'll be talking a little bit about that tonight, from black faces to blue faces, because in this lecture we did talk about what was going on with the blackface scandal with Gucci, but we also spoke about what's going on in the NFL, and then we also talked about what Jay-Z was doing with the video that he did, Story of OJ, right? When he was on his social justice, you know, when he was out there campaigning. Oh, Birmingham, UK is in the building. MD is in the building. Jersey City, Yonkers is in the building. West Phoenix, Fort Wayne, Indiana, Alabama's in the building. St. Louis is in the building. The Bronx, via Brooklyn, is in the building. Khalifa is in the building. VA is in the building. Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, Alabama is in the building. Poughkeepsie, New York territory is in the building. Monroe, Louisiana, Mississippi. All right. John Q, 313, VA, 804, Warren, New Jersey. Northwest of Mexham is in the building. LA is in the building. Buffalo, Rough Buff is in the building. New Jersey is in the building. Buffalo is in the building. Patterson is in the building. Atlanta's in the building. Las Vegas is in the building. You already. We deep. Orlando's in the building. San Fran, LA. So it's safe to say that we covering all bases, globally connected. You know what I'm talking about? All places where people with third eyes that are open on a Thursday, you know, in a line, you know, in a place where they need to be. Stanford, NC, Hartford, Connecticut. The world is in the building. That's right. Yeah. Philly, what up? Yay, Philly is lit. Charlotte is in the building. Midwest is in the building. We was just in Philly. We did our lecture with Professor James Small. That's going to be out soon. But right now, this is out. If y'all want to see this right here, this is only $20 to the Cash App. And send me your email and we'll get your address and everything. But this is, you know, I got to put a commercial and put it on a video. But it's just, I just got it. So that's for y'all. Yeah, I want y'all to see that. Jersey City's in the building. Boston is in the building. See, so the roll call keep going. I'm gonna have to say roll call finish right now so we could go. But I see that we are all in the building. You know, I'm the power of technology. The beauty of the technology is that I could never probably have reached all of those places in this amount of time to give you this information in real time. So here we are. You know, everybody's in the building from all over the world, broadcasting live on this powerful, you know, this ancestor moon, you know, in real time. That's power. You know, shit, that's lit. You know what I mean? We don't gotta ask NBC's permission, or we don't have to wait for broadcasting. We could come on whenever we want. You know, that's I could do something with that. You know? But yeah, man, Indiana's in the building. I welcome everybody. I'm a shout out at everybody whoever you at. That's a shout out, because that's important that people, when they look back at this, it might be like the Terminator when you're trying to find out where the resistance is at or where the family is at. So you might be in a certain city and then you hear me shouting out your city and you like, oh, I didn't know people, they were awake in my city. I was living in a city of zombies. If you live in a city of zombies, my friends, and y'all have talents and skills and you're trying to live your life, I highly encourage you to go to the city where there ain't a lot of, where it's a whole bunch of people that are not zombies. You know what I mean? That have their third eye open and they are functioning. You feel me? And they about doing stuff. Wherever I get booked, those are those places. Norfolk, Virginia. Detroit is lit. Atlanta is super lit. New York, you already know what it is. New York is lit. You know, but if you come to New York, my Negroes, my ninjas, you better come with plan B, C, and 3. You know what I'm talking about? And you got to come with some armor because your skin got to get a little thick out here. Cali is lit. LA was lit. When we went to LA for the Nip funeral, LA was super lit. Inglewood was lit. Lamerick Park and all of that. Miami, Florida, Hollywood. These places are they have communities, and these communities are living out. You know, these communities are doing things. So if you find yourself in a place where you always saying, yo, I feel left out, or I'm just online and I'm in a place where I don't feel safe and there's nothing going on and I'm around the zombies and whatnot, you know, you may want to explore. I'm a person, I navigate, I move around. I've been known to travel, you know, to many different states throughout the years and set up shop and build and plant seeds and do heavy lifting and clear a lot of the rubbish and whatnot and open up the pathway and do what pillars do, build the pillars up so a lot of things could come through it in many different walks of life, from the street life all the way to this conscious shit, all the way to the super conscious, all the way to some spiritual work, you know. So it's an honor to have everybody in the building tonight. Peace, love, and light to the family. You know, you could be anywhere else, but you're here with me, you know what I mean? Or you're here with us. And we have an interesting show tonight. So without any further ado, let me get right into the information, because we have a lot of information and it is very late, you know, especially on the East Coast. So I don't want to have everybody up in the wee hours. You feel me? Because we all got work to do. Let's get right into the family, though. That is the title of this lecture. I had the opportunity to binge on the series last night. I nodded off a few times. You know what I mean? I just admit I dozed off a few times. I got the smack. Get up, and I snapped back. But that is a series that was just released on Netflix, right? And that series is exploring an organization of evangelical Christians who are clandestine, right? A hidden hand that wields enormous power from behind the scenes, and they do it through ecclesiastical, right? Ecclesiastical ministry, religious exemption protection, but yet and still, the documentary shows you in all, in all ways that church and state have been completely intertwined. And this is a very interesting group. This group is the group who is responsible for having the annual breakfast, right? It's called the prayer breakfast. The name of the doc, for anybody who may not understand, the name of the doc is The Family, aka the Fellowship. It's the prayer breakfast, right? The National Prayer Breakfast. Now, the National Prayer Breakfast is an annual event that takes place in D.C. amongst luminaries, not only in politics, but luminaries in every single facet of industry, along with global leaders, dictators, movers and shakers, top business people, right? Entrepreneurs, war generals, people of the cloth, and many others. This event is a prestige event. This event is almost like the hottest ticket in town. This prayer breakfast is the place to be because of the amount of connections that, and I'm not talking about us. This is not a conversation about us. Let's be clear. I'm speaking about the group of people who, our people want to understand. Let's just leave it at that. Who we're studying the movements, the way that this is counterintelligence at play right now, right? So everything that you do is being surveilled, studied. All of your data is being crunched. You know what I'm talking about? All of your algorithms are being, sourced. So here we go, as researchers and as scholars and as reporters and journalists, right? And what are we doing? We're doing our research, right? We're saying, well, goddamn it, let us go ahead and check these people out that are known for checking the people out. And every time we peek into these rooms that these people are in, oh man, boy oh boy, we see some shit that we can't unsee. So the latest nugget that got sent to us from a place where, keep in mind, we have some of the most powerful ancestors ever assembled. For everybody who loved the Avengers and the concept of the assembling of people who are very powerful, because this is something that they get off on. But in our backyard, we have a pantheon. We have a collection. We have a group of ancestors who are extremely powerful in their ancestry, right? Some of these ancestors were able to stand the test, not of time, the test, not of selling out, the test, not of folding, the test, not of breaking. They were able to stand the test of will. As a result of that, many of them were not able to be bought and sold, so they died with nothing, because the way that our people, or the way that those people, or the way that energy has it, you won't get anything. You'll die. We'll starve you. It's almost like having something under siege. We'll just starve you out until you break. And then some of our people got starved out to the max, because their own people who could have helped them, or their own people who could have invested in them, or their own people who could have carried them, they did not. They chose not to. They chose to watch them carry that cross, because they were looking for Jesus figures. They were looking for those. They let them bear the brunt of that pressure. So when people talk about our elders who died broke and didn't have it, it's because you let them down. You had the opportunity to carry that. You had the opportunity to create something that were able to sustain. Don't ever blame it on them only. Okay? Because in every society except this one, there is a system of philanthropy. There is a system of all kind of things. There is a system of the elders and their master teachers and their greatest thinkers to be compensated and to be taken care of financially, you know what I'm talking about, by those who are benefiting financially off of their information, and financially off of their demonstrations, and financially off of the wars that they fought and won. But yet and still, the way that our people would have it, they would rather ridicule. Or they would expect you to broker some magical deal with a righteous European who's in alignment with all of the morals that you stand for, so everybody could say that that's okay. Yeah, it's all right. We accept you with this white person giving you the bag because he's an okay white guy. You know what I'm talking about? But we're not entertaining the conversations about how are we personally, not out excluding anybody else, how are we as the collective going to come together and consolidate our power, consolidate our resources? Because in the spiritual realms, our ancestors are consolidated. Our ancestors are many at this point. Our ancestors are powerful, though, because those ancestors' egos, reputations, and their legacies are not besmirched for being questioned as being sellouts, for being questioned as being coons, for being questioned as being capitalists, black capitalists versus black socialists or something. Being questionable for being the cipher in the matrix, being questionable for all of those things. On whatever they did live through, they survived. And we have great ancestors like Dr. Sabi, who just had a birthday, a born day. The great iconic ancestor, the God, the American God. The American God. From South America, from Africa, whatever. The American God, Dr. Sabi, Alfredo Bowman. Then we have Dr. Francis Cress Welsing with the Cress theory, whose Cress theory is defeating any theory that anybody could stand on to this day. And for all of her critics and all of her secret haters and her public haters, you understand? They had to eat that shit. They had to eat everything that they said about her. facts. Because the crest theory is at play, and we need to have some, I think we should have some readings of the ISIS paper together as a collective to figure out what else does she tell us to do as a response to the shit that they're blatantly doing because of their, because of their penis envy, their genetic inferiority, their white fragility, their white inferiority complexes, their rage, their hate, their sexual deviations, the fact that they work together as a network in a tightly connected web of what? Of some sadistic, pedophilic, bestialic, vampiric, lower frequency entities who ain't nothing like me. We are not the same. You know what I'm talking about? We're not the same. It's not, that's not even a, whoever's talking equality is smoking the wrong kind of equality, because we are not the same. And they're mad because you know that you're not the same. They're upset with you because you have the audacity to prove that you're not the same. They can't stand it because you are not going over to become like them fast enough. Do you know how they act when they see me and they're standing in our presence? Not everybody. But the ones who don't want to see you in your proper persona. The ones who don't want to see you just living your best life. The ones who don't want to see you comfortable in your black skin, minding your black owned business. But not just your black owned business, your Moorish owned business, your Kemetic owned business. Because I'm telling you, I see how they act around black, but I see how they act around matte black, and I see how they act around Moors, and I see how they act around the Kemites. It's a whole different frequency. They got a whole nother kind of energy. So we have ancestors. This is the ancestor moon. We have ancestors that we should rally around. And we should feed these ancestors as a collective, because this pantheon of ancestors intellectually have aided and abetted in what we call intellectual warfare. Intellectual warfare is to have the audacity to control the narrative, to have the audacity to prophesize shit before CBS News leaks it or 4chan says it. No, we talk about this shit a year before. I promise you. I have an anniversary for a lecture that I did with Professor Griff, a 2-day lecture, one in Baltimore and the other one in Capitol Heights, called The Enemy Decoded. Everything to the T that we said in that lecture a year ago is what you see exactly to the T today. Yo, let me say something about Facebook. As much as people talk about Facebook, Facebook memories is the illest shit that you can ask for, because prior to Facebook memories, what did you have? A diary? Who was reminding you that 2 years ago you was wearing the same shit that you're wearing today? Who was there to remind you 5 years ago that you were doing some of the same stuff with the same people that you're doing today? So what did Facebook memory do? Facebook memory showed me personally, this is my observation, and they're reinforcing that life is centrifugal. They're reinforcing that life is a cycle and it's not linear, because if it was linear, the Facebook memories would not line up with your fucking patterns and the shit that you're doing as a cycle every goddamn year. It's to the T. I'm reading my status updates, my philosophy prophecies. That book is coming soon. The philosophy prophecies are my status updates from 5 years ago, 10 years ago, 4 years ago, 7 years ago, 9 years ago, where I'm prophesizing shit that's going on to the fucking T, as if I wrote the script. Book coming soon. Book coming soon. You know, we don't understand what this internet is or the mystical, magical. When I say mystical, think about Ouija board. When I say mystical, Think about the fact that the Black Mirror is something mystical. It's everything come together. It's the Ouija board. It's the Black Mirror. It's all of that shit. It's the fucking it's everything in one. And you are to do you are to do magic on this shit. The rules of the rules that applied into the world that I'm broadcasting from do not apply in this world. If you want to fly through a motherfucker's chest who's out here hanging black people, if you want to go back in time and turn over a plantation, if you want to pull up on a plantation right now and just breathe your hot, fiery breath, you eat some hot Cheetos and burn a plantation down, you can do it. Why? Because there's green screens and there's 3D programming and there's computers, and you could do that. If you niggas are throwing any kind of money away around or whatever you're doing, or even if you could scramble it up or whatever it may be, you can do the same thing that they doing in Hollywood, Nollywood and Bollywood. They're not even doing in Nollywood and Bollywood, well, maybe Bollywood a little bit, but Nollywood, they're not even up to where you could be in your living room right now or your garage or something. Meaning that Afrofuturism, Afro-surrealism, go and look it up. These are marketplaces. These are viable, booming marketplaces that your ideas, and don't frustrate yourself. Don't go fucking crazy. Don't go mad. Don't lose your mind. Write that shit down on a piece of paper and learn how to break it down as a script. Learn how to break it down as a storyline. Learn how to break it down as a motherfucking comic book something, or some ideas for a book. Learn how to put that shit in the arts. You have to deposit your craziness into your art. Then you become a genius. And not everybody can make the jump. You know what I'm talking about? That's why the artists are fucking crazy. But then they become geniuses. So their crazy is excused because of their genius. So now we hear, no, that's magic. Red and blue live at the same time. That's the twin pillars. That's how we work this thing. This is magical right now. On the ancestor moon. On Nip's birthday. On Nip's birthday. On Ermias. On his born day. On his mother's born day. Angelique. I gotta put a picture up of us and his mother and wish her happy birthday, because she gave birth to this on this day. And created the God. So, you know, the family is showing you that the European white evangelical Christian, the white evangelical Christian, okay? These are Orthodox Christians. Yes, God will rise. God will rise. You understand? We're gonna get to the Nipsey thing. Let me just get through this family thing first. We're going through the thing. We're talking about the family. We're gonna get on Jay-Z. We're gonna talk about the NFL thing. We covered that with Brother Rich, but I'll update you on that. We're gonna get on Nipsey, Epstein, Ancestor Moon, and then we tapping out. But I need y'all to go and get that live for Sunday, because I've been putting a lot of my energy and a lot of my time in my research. I promise you, the information dumps that I'm receiving, the type of shit that's just come out since we did the first one. This is 2.2. What can you feel me? They got me on parole on the information highway. They got me doing community service, cleaning up the highway, because, you know, I got 100 hours community service. So I got to get this information out. Everything that's going on right now ties into the conversation. Who saw American Gods? When we talked about who Jay-Z was in the scheme of things. the NFL, the Nephilim, him, the so yeah, y'all, get ready for that. That'll be at 5 p.m. I think we'll be going to no, it's gonna be from 7 p.m. to midnight on Sunday. And even if you can't wait, you can't stay up that late on Sunday, it'll all be I do video on demand, beloved. It's all video on demand, so you get to see it whenever you need. It'll be emailed to you. You'll be able to see it whenever you click on it and watch it. You know what I mean? I believe I'm a large proponent of the digital access, the digital distribution. All right, so let's talk about the family, and then we'll get through things. Yeah, NBA YoungBoy is out of jail today. It's a thug holiday. Nipsey's birth. This is a thug. This got to be turned into a holiday. This is how you take your power back. This is how they do it. This is how I'm giving you the blueprint. This is what this Netflix story showed you. It showed you somewhat, in a way, a blueprint to how their powerful come together and consolidate their power behind a principle that might not even be something that they really fuck with, or it might be, because the Jesus that they are worshiping, it might not be your Jesus. Think about that. They might got a specific Jesus because they heavy on Jesus. Let me read a definition of the National Prayer Breakfast. Okay? The National Prayer Breakfast is a yearly event held in Washington, D.C., usually on the first Thursday in February. The founder of this event was Doug Coe. The event, which is actually a series of meetings, luncheons, and dinners, has taken place since 1953 and has been held at least since the 1980s at the Washington Hilton on Connecticut Avenue, Northwest. The National Prayer Breakfast, held in the Hilton's International Ballroom, is typically attended by some 3,500 guests, including international invitees from over 100 countries. It is hosted by members of the United States Congress and is organized on their behalf by the Fellowship Foundation, a Christian organization, initially called the Presidential Prayer Breakfast. The name was changed in 1970 to the National Prayer Breakfast. It is designed to be a forum for the political, social, and business elite to assemble and peddle influence. Since the inception of the National Prayer Breakfast, several U.S. states and cities and other countries have established their own annual breakfast events. Every U.S. president since Dwight D. Eisenhower has participated in the annual event. Okay? So, this breakfast event, right, is a consolidation of influential people in their niche market, right, coming together and using their influence to do what? To network power with power, right? Because power corrupts, but absolute power corrupts absolutely. And those corrupt people are attracted to each other because they are there to do their corruption. So here are some of the speakers. Just, you may know some of the names that I don't know, because people are familiar with different people. 1973, Senator Mark Hatfield. 1987, Elizabeth Dole. 1994, Mother Teresa. 1997, Ben Carson. Okay? So this is when the trajectory begins to certain political careers where people are what? People are hoisted. People are placed. You know how the industry places people, or politics, or the media will place people from politics into politics or into the spotlight, like how they did Barack Obama. 2006, Bono. 2009, Tony Blair. 2013, again, Ben Carson. 2018, Steve Scalise. In 2019, Gary Huygen, CEO of International Justice Mission. So the documentary shows that the group called the Fellowship Group, which is also the family is the name of the documentary, but the other name of the group is called the Fellowship Group. All right. So the Fellowship is a very interesting group of individuals, all male, right? All European, okay? And they all live together in DC in like a dorm, specially preserved for soldiers of Christ or Christian Jesus-loving men. And I thought that was very weird when I first heard it, because I'm like, well, goddamn it, where are the women? And what role do they play? And why are y'all leaving them out? You know, I thought people's object in life was, you know, to be around some beautiful women and talk about Jesus. But these guys just want to talk about Jesus with each other. And the show is very, you know, what I was getting homoerotic vibes. My gaydar was going off enormously. And I was saying to myself, well, goddamn it, there's something weird going on in this house. You understand? Like, the documentary might be omitting something that they're not getting right to. And it's the fact that these niggas was humping. They wasn't just jumping for Jesus. You know what I'm talking about? They wasn't just jumping for Jesus. You know. So they all fragile. They all Jesus out. Let me read some stuff about this show. I just want y'all to become familiar, because this is if anybody is a fan of the work, if anybody's been following my lectures, if you saw a three-headed monster, or if you saw any of my Into Deeps, or if you've been following what I've been saying about the doctrine of discovery, speaking about the church, speaking about the papal bulls, speaking about giving you that cloth. This show right here is going to show you exactly what it is that I've been saying in so many ways, that I don't have to, there is no more conspiracy. This the group right here. This them. They the ones setting this shit up. They're the ones using Jesus to cook all around the world. They the ones that's spreading that shit in Africa. Yo, it's interesting. But let me read this. In 2007, Senator, y'all can read it with me. I like when y'all read it with me. So y'all just gotta watch me reading and shit. In 2007, Senator Ensign of Nevada was a glittering star in the Republican firmament, with a maple syrup tan, born-again bona fides, and presidential ambitions. He was one of a handful of congressmen who lived in the C Street row house owned by an organization known as the Fellowship, an unorthodox group home that the New Yorker once likened to a frat house for Jesus. The Fellowship members crossed party lines, but they had a few things in common. They were male, they were white, they paid a token fee to occupy rooms rented out by a nebulous faith group. They paid a token fee to occupy rooms rented out by a nebulous faith group that encouraged them to believe that they have been chosen as leaders by God himself and that none but God can judge them. For Ensign, at least, it didn't quite work out that way. In 2009, he was forced to confess that he was having an extramarital affair with the wife of his staffer and friend, Doug Hampton. Then it emerged that Ensign's parents had given the Hamptons a gift of $96,000 after Hampton discovered the affair, while Ensign had helped Hampton get a lobbying job at a Nevada-based consulting group. Ensign moved out of C Street, and his fellow Republican senator reporters distanced themselves from him. He left office in 2011 and returned to working as a veterinarian in Las Vegas, where he also volunteers for a charity offering low-cost spaying, and neutering services. These are some ignominious second acts in American politics, but the path from one of Jesus' own representatives on earth to a humble agent in the fight against animal overpopulation nevertheless stands out. But what happened to the fellowship, the family? A 5-part documentary series by Jesse Moss that debuted on Netflix earlier this month makes the case that the shadowy religious organization, best known for the moral incontinence of some of its members, is actually one of the most nefarious operations in American politics. Based in large part on a 2008 book of the same name by Jeff Sharlet, the family draws a through line from the fellowship to President Donald Trump, casting the latter as a crucial component in the fellowship's quest for global domination. Members of the Congress, Moss and Charlotte argue, are secretly lobbying for an invisible organization that has been hiding in plain sight for the past 8 decades. The fellowship, Charlotte says in one scene, is the darkest expression of religious life that I found in 20 years. Okay? Over 4 and a bit hours, the family tries to expose an institution whose most prized currency has always been secrecy, delving into its origins at the hands of a Norwegian minister and fervent capitalist, its ties to some of the world's nastiest autocrats, its more recent amity with Russia, and its eager embrace of Trump as a wolf king who can change the course of history. A wolf king, not a sheep. They say Trump is a wolf king. Okay, that is all right of might. Okay, he's a wolf king. He's the king alpha. He's going to be a wolf king. That's what they see him as. That's all might of right talk. Moss embraces the stylistic trappings of conspiratorial exposés to tell his story, dramatic reenactments, a plinky and faintly menacing piano scene, selective splicings of clips featuring Muammar Gaddafi. And yet, as the series continues, it's unclear whether the fellowship is as powerful as it would like to be, or whether its aura of mystery is its most distinct asset. In one interview, Doug Cole, the fellowship's former longtime leader, is likened to the Wizard of Oz, the enigmatic architect of a kingdom. But Oz was also just a man behind a curtain with a prodigious gift for self-aggrandizement. At times, the family's willingness to buy into the fellowship's mythology to tell a more compelling story seems to distract the show from the core of the real con. Okay. Hold on. And then let me just read the Wikipedia real quick. So, as you see, the story is trying to, you know what I mean? Whoever wrote the story, they're trying to let him off the hook with the, you know, it didn't really say too much. And I would agree that there's so much that the documentary actually left out if you understand what this whole thing was really showing you. Okay? So, the episodes, they got 5 episodes. The first one is Submersion. The second one is Chosen. The third one is New World Order. The fourth one is Dictators, Murderers, and Thieves. And the fifth one is Wolf King. So in each episode, right, they're breaking down what this group is about, the reach this group has, and the things that this group has already done. I'm talking about these are some of the most powerful religious figures that have um, a lot of political. I'm talking about immense political pull, and you know, it just goes to show you that the church and something about the thing about this fellowship or the group called a fellowship is that they're not even they don't stress religion to the sense they stress Jesus. It's not about Christianity, but they don't even use the Bible. They have a whole book with Jesus on the cover. So for them, their throughway is Jesus. That's how they're able to connect with Africans around the world, and that's how they're able to connect with despots and quote unquote tyrants that they call them, because they were utilizing Jesus, the doctrine of discovery. In his name we will conquer. They did not say in Christianity we will conquer. They did not say in the church we will conquer. They said in his name we will conquer. So when these European, and you remember, these are government officials that are part of the fellowship, but they're going on trips around the world, on religious missionary trips. They're going on missionary trips to convert and to interject themselves into the governments of foreign entities, utilizing both their government, like the influence of them being chief of staffs or secretary of states, all of these lofty titles of the greatest superpower on the planet, which is America, the empire, the imperialistic, the behemoth, that one of the biggest empires in the history of the world. This is what USA is. So if you're a representative, if you're a political figure, if you're a diplomat outside of the borders of the United States, especially if you have embassies or if you have relationships with those foreign countries, then when you go in the name of Christianity, or when you go in the name of Jesus, then that's church and state. Yes, it does sound like the Jesuits. It definitely does sound like the Jesuits. It's a must see. It's definitely a must see. You will get a greater understanding about how power, remember, power, things work behind the scenes, clandestine, at dinners and at breakfasts and at meetings where you're not present. But the problem that you may have is that you don't have a breakfast to go to, or you may not have a dinner to go to, because your group, the group that you belong to, or the society that you belong to, or the network that you belong to, they have not consolidated their power. These 19 millionaires consolidated their power. And as a result of them consolidating their power, they have created this breakfast that brought in a whole bunch of other people. And remember, your network is your net worth. So by bringing in all of these other peoples under the guise of eating, remember, one of the most sacred acts that we all have and share is the act of eating food, putting food in our mouth. Okay, A.A. Rashid breaks that down, the Kabbalah God, who's also having a class in Brooklyn on the 18th of August for the family in New York City. Go and check out the Kabbalah God, A.A. Rashid. He got some things that he's cooking. But he speaks about the sacred act of feasting, of having, sitting at the table with others to feast and then doing business. Most people close out their business deals at dinners and whatnot, or even during breakfasts and whatnot. So this breakfast is a front for a lot of things. They're also having meetings, like they said. They're also having forums, but they're coming together and they're consolidating that power. And we're identifying it, but we also are saying that we're identifying that we would fare better. We would be in a little more power position. We would be in a more unified, clandestine you know, powerful, invisible influence if we sat and had breakfast and if we broke bread on at an annual gathering where we networked and we shared our contacts and millionaires amongst us talked about being billionaires. Billionaires amongst us talked about being trillionaires. You understand? Because there's nothing nefarious about what the goddamn people are doing with their presidential breakfast. You know what I mean? The concept of it is not nefarious. The idea of it is not nefarious. The formula of what it is that they're showing you how to basically, you know, how people do certain things to get certain things going and to get certain things influenced and to bring certain other peoples in that fold. That necessarily is not wrong. But these people who are somebody, a group of individuals who my interest is not being served, this does nothing for me. It's actually something that's being done against people such as me who may be looked down upon because the mentality of the fellowship is that God chooses the strong men, right of might. Look, let me read. I'm going to read. So remember, because this is YouTube, I have to cover my tracks by reading out all of the information that I'm saying and showing it, because conspiracy is a theory, but conspiracy is shit the niggas is in the feds for. Same spot that Epstein was in, my niggas. You don't want to get, I'm not on it, you'll never see me on the internet with the conspiracies. I'm going to read the shit that I'm talking about, so there's some source material, so you know I'm not just shooting from the hip. And I suggest other people, 444, I suggest other people should do things such as that as well. You know. The Fellowship, also known as the Family, is an international foundation, is a U.S.-based religious and political organization founded in 1935 by Abraham Vereide, is Vereide. The stated purpose of the fellowship is to provide a fellowship forum for decision makers to share in Bible studies, prayer meetings, worship experiences, and to experience spiritual affirmation and support. Fellowship has been described as one of the most politically well-connected and most secretly funded ministries in the United States. The fellowship shuns publicity and its members share a vow of secrecy. The fellowship's leader, Douglas Coe, and others have explained the organization's desire for secrecy by citing biblical admonitions against public displays of good works, insisting they would not be able to tackle diplomacy sensitive missions if they drew public attention. The fellowship holds one regular public event each year, the National Prayer Breakfast held in Washington, D.C. Every sitting United States president since Dwight D. Eisenhower has participated in at least one National Prayer Breakfast during his term. The fellowship's known members or known participants include ranking U.S. government officials, corporate executives, heads of religious and humanitarian aid organizations, right? These are NGOs, right? Exactly. Somebody said they probably trafficking kids. I'm like I said, talk black to me. Let's talk about this. It seems at this breakfast club, shout out to Charlemagne, at this breakfast, this might be, this might be what Cobra Commando meets Destro meets Mumra. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? Meets motherfucking Skeletor. They all linking up. Because it's at this breakfast where a lot of things are done in secrecy and a lot of unions are forged and a lot of bonds, business bonds are forged. I'm going to do the due diligence and get the list of the rappers who have been at these breakfasts, at the Breakfast Club. I'll go ahead and do the research. But if my Scooby-Dooby mind would go work and it would come back with Jay-Z under the hood. You understand? I would say that if there was any rapper that had ever been to the fellowship breakfast or the quote unquote national prayer breakfast, yeah, that's the real Breakfast Club. It would be Jehovah. And we would and we would probably see most of the names that are on that Forbes list. Like Drake. Somebody said Hollywood, entertainment industry, military, politicians are all trafficking kids and the hotels are in on it. And I'm reading you about a national prayer breakfast. Prayer. That should be the fucking that should set off the goddamn alarm, my niggas. The prayer where them niggas is praying. Yeah, I'm talking about. And the fellowship, a secret group, sound like the Illuminati to me, baby. And they're everywhere now. They're not just in DC anymore. They're in Russia. They're in Africa. They all in Africa. I'm going to show you. You'll see in the series. When you be like, yo, how did Africans get so Christian? Huh? Wait until you see what they did. In Newsweek, Lisa Miller wrote, then rather than calling themselves Christians, they don't call themselves Christians. They are not Christians. They go on record saying, we are not Christians. As they describe themselves, they are brought together by a common love for the teachings of Jesus and that all approaches to loving Jesus are acceptable. It doesn't matter. They said, as long as you love Jesus, you're accepted. They don't consider themselves the Christians. Okay. So in their Wikipedia, it's a lot. It's beyond missionaries, though. Somebody said missionaries. It's beyond missionaries. You know. I think they would be the ones at the top. They're setting up the whole missionary network. They're setting up the pipelines. They're setting up the quote unquote, you know, the rat lines. They're the ones setting it. They're lining shit up. I promise you. We'll show you the Epstein connection. The Epstein has to be connected to the fellowship. Has to be connected to the fellowship. That's a that's a no-brainer. And if it's not him, it's 1 degree of separation. It's one of those 1,000 names. Do you know? We're gonna talk about Epstein in a minute. Do you know? Let's get to Epstein. We'll go through Epstein through this. Do you know that there's 1 million pages of evidence that they had on Jeff Epstein? Go and research 1 million pages of evidence Jeff Epstein. Go and do that. They have 1 million pages. All the pages is gone. Yes, in the name of Jesus, because what do they say? In his name we will conquer. In his name we will conquer. Okay. These are current members. Don Nichols, Bill Nelson, Chip Pickering, Conrad Burns, Frank Wolf, Frank Carlson, Ed Bryant, Joe Pitts, John Thune, John Ensign, Mark Pryor. I don't know none of these crackers, but we get back to it. We get back to it. All right, so check that out. We're gonna be we're gonna break it down a little bit further. We're gonna dig into it a little bit more, guys, on the upcoming webinar. Right? We'll get to it. I want y'all to see it before y'all come and watch if you can. Like, I don't know if everybody has the time to see it, but if you can, you check that out. Okay? And you know, you tell me what you think. But definitely make sure you watch anything that I did on the doctrine of discovery, anything that I did to explain what the USA is. I showed you that because of the doctrine of discovery, this is a Christian stronghold. Not this Christian stronghold. This is the Vatican. This is the Vatican. This is a Vatican stronghold. You dig? Don't fall for none of the okie doke. But it also has something to do with the small hats as well. They play a big part of it. They're major players in this theater. This is not a simple theater. This thing has multiple players, multiple angles, you know, multiple actors are in this theater of war. But the way that the ancestors have been working, yes, it is on Sunday. It's on the 18th. It's on Sunday, okay? 7 p.m. Eastern time to midnight. So the way that the ancestors been working and what they call, you know, the quote-unquote age of information, the age of enlightenment, the age of revealing, right around the time, right before 2020, which in symbolic terms represents clear sight. But not only clear sight, we know that 2020 is a bookmark. It's a bookmark, or rather a pinpoint in the time-space continuum where things are definitely going to change for the better. Okay? And from the way I see it, from my vantage point where I stand, based off of vantage point, meaning where I stand, my bird's eye view versus my worm's eye view. So I'm able to look down on this shit on my Heru. I'm able to rise up. I'm up like a falcon. So my bird's eye view on the whole thing is that I'm like, okay, shit is you know, it's a lot of revealing going on. It's a lot of veils being lifted if you know what to look for. You know what I'm saying? A lot of skirts being lifted up. You know what I'm talking about? It's a lot of light being shined in dark corners, if you want to get biblical with me. So the ancestors that I'm giving credit to, they're making everything work. I'm privy to the fact that the ancestors really do work from the ancestral realm in ways that you can never fathom. I'm talking about the Dr. Blairs of the world. I'm talking about the Dr. Francis Cress Wilsons. I'm talking about the Dr. Benz. I'm talking about the Dr. Sabies. I'm talking about all of those powerful ones. I'm talking about the Dr. Ivan Van Sertima. I'm saying that if you work with them, they work with you. And a lot of shit is being revealed. The ancestor Dick Gregory. I'm saying that we have a pantheon of power players. This is the ancestor moon. Talk black to me. This is the ancestor moon. We have to do something to feed them and to give them what it is that give them their harvest. Give them their harvest. Give them their adoration. Give them their flowers. Give them their thanks. Because I got to thank the ancestors for doing what they've been doing with the news cycle. Shit like that. Yeah, Marcus Garvey, Elijah, Malcolm X, MLK. They lifting the veils. They making sure what was said was going to happen is happening, nigga. It's on you now. Fuck is you talking about? You know what I'm talking about? They making shit happen. They're revealing things, bro. This whole thing falling down. You don't see it? This whole thing is falling to pieces by the day. They ain't no snapping shit. All is mental, first and foremost. It's not physical. You niggas is looking for planes to fall down. You niggas watch too much Netflix. You into disaster shit. That's not what I'm referring to. I'm talking about this breakdown. I'm talking about this decoding. I'm talking about waking the fuck up. I'm talking about unplugging, nigga. I'm talking about wanting to live instead of living backwards, instead of living through the evils, living the opposite way, making the motherfucking pendulum swing. I'm talking about getting back up, that type of shit. You know what I mean? Not just tweeting black excellence, being black excellence so you could evolve and transform into black godhood or some shit. And then from that point, it ain't even about a color. because God is not a color. It's a frequency. So everything, in my opinion, that's happening was somewhat prophesized to happen. The only thing is, are you prepared? Are you aware of the shit before it's about to happen, so it don't catch you in a state of ignorance or not knowing or in the unknown? No, once you know something, once you have knowledge of something, then that gives you power over it. Okay? It can't catch you by surprise, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? You've been prophesized, nigga. We already talked about you before you got here. You can't catch me by surprise. I knew what you was about to do. So people is on my neck asking me about how I feel about Jay-Z and what he did with the NFL. I said, nigga, I told you what he was going to do a long time ago. That won't catch me by surprise. I explained to you that he's on a mission on some American God shit. He's not fucking with, if you fall victim to the social justice work, like he was here to save niggas from the projects, that's not what he's been showing you. He's been showing you that he's redefining black capitalism and marrying it with black socialism, and a whole new genre is being created in front of your face. A whole new industry is being forged called a woke industry. It's very expansive. It's growing humongously, and the shit grew about $1 billion or $2 billion with the fucking move that he just did. So there's been a lot of talk about his dishonesty, and we're going to touch on that tonight, because at the end of the day, that's just showing what kind of man that guy is. That's just showing you his hand is revealing who the fuck he is, so we can understand when a Choke No Joke or a Dame Dash or somebody else is trying to explain to you the psychosis or the personality of the people, of a person who we might not be familiar with, then it might be something that we might have to take into account. Like, this nigga said that he spoke to Kaepernick, but Kaepernick girl is on Twitter going in. She said, Nessa. I didn't know that was his bae. Nessa from MTV. I wasn't aware of that. But that's Kaepernick's boo. She said, this is a lie. Colin never spoke to Jay-Z and NFL ahead of that deal being done. They never included him in any discussion. Colin Kaepernick tweeted, today marks the 3-year anniversary of the first time I protested systematic oppression. I continue to work and stand with the people in our fight for liberation, despite those who are trying to erase the movement. The movement has always lived with the people. He tweeted that one day ago. So look, Jay-Z did the NFL move a day before the 3-year anniversary of Kaepernick. Remember, I was telling you about Facebook memories. If that nigga had Facebook, it would have reminded him, fam, you can't do this shit on the anniversary of this nigga's 3-year anniversary, and you didn't even tweet him about the deal. He got to hear about it like everybody else. That don't feel good. That don't feel good. We're not going to play around and jump around. I don't ride niggas, you know what I'm saying? I don't ride no nigga wagon. So I'm going to call it for what it is. That's some whole shit. That's some whole shit. You can't do that. There's no excuse to that. How you not going to be putting how you can't be putting the homie on to what's going on when it's going on? You don't got to tell them every detail. You just can't pull his coat and be like, fam, I'm negotiating with them people. I'm going to put in a word for you because let me know what team you want to play on. We going to cook these niggas. It's Hove, nigga. You know what I'm talking about? Talk back to me. It's Hove. Talk to me. How we going to line these niggas up, Cap? What you want me to say? Unless, unless that I can see as a playable card, because you always have to be, we just speculating at the end of the day. So unless there's something that we don't know involving Kaepernick there's just a lapse of sharing information because of some stipulations in that settlement. See, that settlement is something that has me like, yo, I don't know everything in a settlement, so I don't know how niggas is acting. If people are acting certain ways, I don't know if the settlement has certain stipulations in it where, you know, you know, niggas can't holler at you about certain things. So from what I'm seeing though, with the tweets from Eric Reed is going in. I can't even, I mean, Eric Reed said these aren't mutually exclusive. They can both happen at the, nah, he said a whole bunch of shit. Let me see this. Jay-Z did a press conference, y'all. I'm not comfortable with. I seen the press conference. He was nigga explaining, y'all. Talk black to me. Put your rocks up, nigga. He was nigga explaining. I wasn't comfortable with that. He said, I'm not knocking anything that he's doing. I hope he doesn't knock what I'm doing. The big homie said that about Kaepernick. You're not supposed to say that in the media. You could have just hollered at that man. He got Choke looking real credible, right? Oh my goodness. God damn, bro. Defend Choke. Make sure that nigga's all right. But this is what I want to ask y'all. Let me ask you this question. On the birthday of the God body, Nipsey Hussle, Ermaeus, and we're going to touch on him in a minute. Let's play what if. I want to play what if. We're on the ancestor moon. Let's play what if. All right? What if Nip was still alive? Whew, how does that feel? What if Nip was still alive? What if, what's that dude? Shitty Cuz shitted on himself and he never got out the car, right? And what if Nip was alive? And what if they had a press conference that said Nipsey Hussle and the NFL just struck a deal where Nipsey Hussle is going to be the face of social change, and Nipsey Hussle is also going to be in charge of entertainment by way of Rock Nation and things of that nature. And Nipsey Hussle was like, yo, I'm going to do this for the people. How would that feel? How would that look? Would that be looked at the same scrutiny? Would that be looked at with suspicion? Would we embrace that? Or will we say that he's selling out and that he's cutting people's legs? I'm playing what if. Talk black to me. I just want to hear you. I'm taking a few, you know, responses. What if it was Nip in the NFL? Because it was Nip in the LAPD? It was going to be Nip in the LAPD along with Rock Nation the next day if he didn't get killed, because he was going to have a meeting with the LAPD and they were going to launch a partnership. So what if it was, I mean, hypothetically speaking, what if it was Nip in Rock Nation? Because it's Jay-Z in Rock Nation. I'm going to tell you the story how Jay-Z got into the whole thing, the way they put it out. But what if it was Nip in Rock Nation? Would that be looked at the same? Y'all got to be honest, because when I was asked, when I brought the question up and I asked myself, I was like, nah, niggas would applaud that. They would understand that. They would believe in that. They would respect it. They will respect it. But one of the things that Nip would have done, just knowing the kind of character that Ermaeus was, he would have definitely had Cap on board. And he would have he would have had a stronger, way more effective. Some people are good at rhyming and they're not good at talking. I don't see Jay-Z as a good orator at all. He's not the best. He doesn't give the best speeches. He's not a great talker. He doesn't. I mean, he's had some great interviews, mind you. He had some interviews where I heard him drop some shit, but that's not his strong point. Nip, on the other hand, that was a strong point of his. You know? The Jay-Z shit is interesting though. This is what you got to keep in mind. It's the same thing, the concept of the family with the national breakfast thing, when all of the powerful rich people have come together, right? To network, right? To make future moves and to plug each other into different elite groups, different circles, different, like how Jeff Epstein had the circles, he had the connections, he had the motherfucking cliques, he had the rat lines. You understand? Those rat lines had him flying all around the globe, hitting jugs, catching people in sexual illicit activities, and he was blackmailing and capturing all of the dirt, all of the information, all of the quote-unquote steamy tea on politicians, princes, barons, tycoons, married men, priests, judges, facts. So here it goes. Meek Mill links up with Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft gets Meek Mill out of jail in Philadelphia, right? It's not Jay-Z. Robert Kraft gets him out, right? That comes out already. Boom. Meek Mill says to Robert Kraft, I want to introduce you to the big homie. Meek Mill links Robert Kraft with Jay-Z. Robert Kraft gets locked up for prostitution in Florida near Mar-a-Lago. By who? By Trump and them. Remember, Trump controls the feds. Trump controls the law enforcement. He trumps up charges on niggas now. He gets you embarrassed. He locks you up. He smears you and things of that nature. Robert Kraft, the way that they catch politicians out there is they can bust you in sexual acts. There's a politician. There's a white entrepreneur. There's all of them defecating on young black women, Spanish, Asian, white, every minute that we've been doing this show. All around America, there's one of these people, a Robert Kraft, a Jeff Epstein, a Harvey Weinstein. They're all out there ghetto gagging, motherfucking doing all kind of sexual deviancy to little boys, little girls, little dogs, little squirrels, little hamsters, old grannies, you name it. So what they'll do is, while you having one of those happy endings, because they know where all of the certain people know where all of the whole spots is at, or where all of the drug spots is at, where people are doing drugs, or where they're out there having sex with little boys and whatnot. They know all of those spots, so they'll send in the police and just bust you. You see Robert Kraft probably seen the police coming in there and was like, yo, what room you going in to get your happy ending? And they like, nah, you under arrest. And he's laughing at them. And they like, for real? And he's like, you must be kidding. And they're like, nah, you under arrest. And he was like, I'll take your job. You know what I mean? Because they're in the same bathhouses getting fucking sloppy toppy from Chun-Li and them. It's all a connection. If Jeff Epstein thing didn't show you that, you niggas gotta wait for the Netflix series, cause I'm not gonna burn myself out. You know what I'm talking about? We've been digging into these motherfuckers for years upon years, and we struck oil. And then niggas has got mad oil over them, wiping shit off like, I'm still not convinced. I'm still not convinced. Talk black to me. No, nigga, it's enough. I'm not gonna beat a dead horse. The whole shit is, you know what I mean, a three-headed monster. The enemy has been decoded, nigga. And it's a fear of a blackamoor messiah, nigga. And also a fear of a black planet, nigga. You understand? And we are surrounded by some American gods, nigga. And these gods are not the gods that you learned about when you was chilling with the fellowship. These gods are dark gods. These gods are trap gods, little niggas. These gods are Griselda in them. You know what I'm talking about? These gods are like American God, the TV show. They had Shadow Moon. He just came home. Okay? They had motherfucking Odin, nigga. Odin was in that bitch. Anubis was in that bitch. He was a motherfucking mortician taking in bodies. Anansi was in that bitch. He was out there hustling, scamming, or whatever he was doing, finessing. It was a bunch of fly gods. They wasn't out there trying to save the world, nigga. And they was coming across all of the new gods. The internet god, the deep web god, the new media god, the World Wide Web, all of them. They were all deep. They didn't practice morality. Nigga, they wasn't coming to save you niggas. They showed you Ishtar. They showed you hippie Jesus. They had a Chinese Jesus. They had Rasta Jesus. They was like, why so many Jesuses? And they said, this was the season finale of season 1, American Gods. It's on Stars. You niggas watching Power and you didn't watch American Gods. I can't do nothing with you. You know what I'm saying? I don't even know what's going on in Power right now. I don't care about that. Nigga, I was watching American Gods. They had a whole TV show. It would have been, like, I know Bobby Hemmett was watching this shit and filling all of them with a smile on their face. Or the ancestors, like I say, who be setting shit up. Because American Gods, the book, came out around the time when the conscious community was in the kitchen, nigga, cooking. The shit dropped out the sky. I'm at the place where I know I could see shit like that as gems. That's manna. It don't matter if a nigga from Yugoslavia, you understand? It don't matter if a nigga from Uranus wrote it. I don't care. Information is information. You niggas is tripping. You don't put down a video game because a nigga from Bangladesh created it, right? So you wasn't in school turning down textbooks because a nigga from Germany penned it after you heard about the Holocaust. No. So take the information as the shit appears. You retards. You know what I'm saying? Niggas is retarded. They try to politicize information, not realizing how the great divine works. He's not gonna work through the homies, nigga. This is not the homie network. American Gods. And it's not, and they showed you in American Gods, it's not one God. This is monolithic. This all nationality of gods. He showed Kali in there. Kali was in there. He gave you all of the killers. He gave you all of the dark gods. He gave you all of the trap gods. That's what the show was showing you. And those gods, they were gods that you had to feed with blood and fire, or they would not react. They won't work for you. That's the god. The Vikings had a god. They had to feed it blood and fire. They had to be dark. And it's showing you that this planet that you live on is not this planet of right and wrong, white and black, and all of these other things. You niggas is caught up in some shit that these Jesus freaks is trying to sell you. It's not that. It's not that. And I don't, we don't want you to get caught up in the illusion, because all of that is an illusion. You're going to live your life always in pain. You're going to live your life always getting back up, listening to Donnie Clerkland, nigga. You always going to fall down, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You got to understand the balance. Always gonna have that kind of suffering if you live under their curse. This is I'm decoding the curse. You know what I'm talking about? We at the 400-year mark, nigga. I'm decoding the curse. I'm unraveling. I'm unpacking the motherfucking curse, nigga. It's a curse, and that curse has come out of the fellowship. That curse is coming out of these motherfuckers who are, out running around spreading all kind of fear-based. Because remember, those are big components of the curse of Ham. Oh, shit. They stand on that. They big components of slavery and all of these other things. They say God ordained it. Those were weaker people and they deserve what they got. Because God is going to smile and give grace and favor to the most powerful people. That the fellowship, they're about following the most powerful. That's why they go to dictators and say, we don't care about the wrongs that you did. If God chose you to win, nigga, you a winner. People is like, yo, how could they do business with Jay-Z? They like, nigga, we don't care about selling drugs, nigga. If God chose you to be a billionaire, you the winner, nigga. We fuck with you. Who you think? Them niggas came and sat down. So to finish the story about the whole Jay-Z thing, Jay-Z met with Robert Kraft. Robert Kraft and Roger Goodell fly to LA to meet with him on a few occasions, and they hash out. Roger Goodell goes to him and says, how can I make this good? You know, like basically what I gotta do to make these niggas start watching again. I mean, let's keep it a buck. He's like, what do I gotta do to make these niggas start watching the NFL? You're Jay-Z. Like, talk black to me. You got the key. These Europeans ain't retarded. They know who the fucking head nigga in charge is in certain situations. They got children to tell them. They got children to tell them. So, Cap is good. Y'all don't worry about Cap. Cap is no cap. Cap is gonna be, if he keep it sucker free and 1,000, he's gonna be good. And to be honest with you, and this is just my humble opinion, I think that he's beyond even the sport of football. Whatever years that he played, that's the fucking years that he played. Make that nigga a Madden legend, and he should move on to politics, or he should move into social entrepreneurism, or he should move into something else a little more saucy. But Meek gets the record deal, right? Exactly. Let me finish off with this whole thing. So notice, Meek gets a record deal. Meek gets rewarded for the connection that he gave with Jay-Z and Robert Kraft. Jay-Z gets with Robert Kraft, then Jay-Z becomes this billionaire. Jay-Z links up with Robert Kraft, you know, through Meek Mills, and Robert Kraft links him to Roger Goodell, the head dude, because all Jay-Z gotta ask Robert Kraft, yo, get that nigga on the phone. I'm going for this bag. Fuck you niggas talking about. Nigga, they train me better than this, nigga. I pray to a trap god. Not that shit you niggas pray to. He got me where I'm at. That's what Jay-Z mentality is. He's telling Roger Kraft, the New England Patriot owner, oh, you could get homie on the phone? Oh, y'all could fly. Y'all want to fly to LA and talk to me? I'm gonna take that motherfucking flight. Let me read the definition of capitalism. Capitalism is an economic system characterized by private or corporate ownership of capital goods, by investments that are determined by private decision, and by prices, production, and the distribution of goods that are determined mainly by competition in the free market. Right? Now, this is socialism. Socialism is a political and economic theory of social organization which advocates that the means of production, distribution, and exchange should be owned or regulated by the community as a whole. Like, nigga, let me hold something. That's socialism. You know what I mean? Where niggas is everybody's getting to hold something, and we're all equal, and there's no elites, and there's nobody out there popping bottles and hitting you with the cork, and you to help. And you feel a kind of way because you ain't in the position that these niggas is in, operating in capitalism. So one of the things that we have to understand about our friend Sean Carter is the fact that he is a capitalist. But this is a capitalist who has figured out that he could carry out what is known as social entrepreneurism. So the business moves that he's been making over the years have been social entrepreneurship business moves, whereas he gets a movie deal, and in that movie deal, he's doing shit on he's doing stuff on Trayvon and Khalif Browder. Right? That's called social entrepreneurship. Okay? So you're going to get the bag, but you're also getting the social justice warrior aspect out there. So what is known as the woke industry is an industry where people are not going, they're not trying to create a new Wakanda in its entirety. They're not necessarily going to war on an intellectual or a spiritual plane. They're shaking down corporations because of social injustices and social ills that they are levying against the small peons. You understand? The help. But they'll advocate for the help to get to what? The prize. And what is the prize? The prize is a piece of the pie that these multi-billion-dollar corporations possess or own. Because they understand, yes, it's a numbers game. Who taught them that? The Godfather taught them that. Who's the Godfather? Clarence Avant. Clarence Avant said it's all numbers. They're in there playing the numbers game. So he's weighing out loyalty to Kaepernick, selling these airplane hats and this liquor, right? Doing these albums and shit. Going on tour with these shaky knees, right? Or going to fuck with these pigskins, you know what I'm saying? These owners, you know, going to these breakfasts and getting down with the Breakfast Club. And remember, nigga, the NFL on Sunday is more powerful than the church. Since we talking about the fellowship, what the fuck do you think the NFL is for Sunday? Go and ask Siri, is the NFL more powerful than the church on Sunday? And she'll tell you emphatically yes. So, join this organization, right? Leverage above the players. I'm leveraged above the players. I'm in the skybox. I'm with the owners now. I get to sit with the top dogs in the whole organization. Not the players. The players already listen to my music. Them niggas is downstairs. They know me and whatnot. But I'm going to sit with the priesthood. And I'm going to help them their halftime 2020 show, and I'm gonna put Meek Mill and Rihanna and Drake and a few other people up there. Because remember, this is capitalism, so nobody will never tell him no. His name, the Carters in the NFL, he's betting on that being something historic. But you don't think the Combs gonna want a piece of that? You don't think the Aubrey Drakes want a piece of that? It's all capitalism. You're gonna see that this is not about socialism. This is not about quote-unquote consciousness. This is about capitalism. That's what they're playing. That's the long game that they play. So let's not be aware. You being alarmed at capitalism. But, nigga, this is power without stars and 50. This is power without stars and 50. Okay? I told you, we broke it down before, how the mafia, we explained how the mafia did it. The mafia went from having bloody, soaked hands to cleaning their hands with philanthropy money, right? Social, it's the same thing that they're saying social justice aware or social justice warriors. Nigga, that's philanthropy, right? So they clean their hands with philanthropy money. Then they get into all of these social justice programs, and then they into politics, and boom, you never speak about their crimes again. And then their children go right into the halls of power. You know. So you know, it is what it is. Today is Nipsey's birthday, and I would ask myself, would Nip be proud? You know, would Nip be proud? Today is Nipsey Hussle's birthday, or Mayas, Ashkadam, would Nip be proud if he was in the audience with all of us right now and he was watching this whole thing go down with his mentor, with the big homie who he was signed to, who he would be at the halftime show, and he would be integrated into social awareness programs and things of that nature. He probably would be tapped to be a representative for not only the West Coast and the Midwest or the East or the South and whatnot. He would probably be tapped to be the, you know, a chief position in that whole organization. So what would he say? You know? But that's that. The love that the brother was getting on social media was beautiful today. Nipsey Hussle, you know, the family that was giving him love, reposting all of his quotes, keeping him alive, keeping the spirit alive, you know, standing on the fact that they are continuing to run the marathon, all of the marathon runners out there, you know what I mean? You know, just holding it down, you know what I'm saying? So today was a beautiful day, you know, to see that man, and I hope people shouted his Umi out, you know what I'm saying, and gave her some love because, you know, she gave birth to that man, you know, she gave birth to that man, you feel me? So, you know, that's what it is, you know. I'm sure that, you know, a lot more information is gonna come out, a lot more speculation or a lot more clarification as to what really went down is going to be revealed, because we're in a time of the revealing. Like I said, when you burn those blue candles, you know, and you read some of and you play some of that music and whatnot, and you meditate on the spirit, all you have to do is say, you know, make sure that justice is brought forth. Justice is revealed, so we can learn and we can know the whole story about what really went down. So on to the Jeffrey Epstein saga, which has dominated the news cycles on global. And thank you everybody sending the cash apps. I just saw all of the cash apps coming through. I appreciate you and yours, for you know, sending the love. You know what I'm saying? So the Epstein information is flooding the internet. Pictures with Bill Clinton in a dress. Did you see that? The 1 million pages of evidence. The names. And not only the names, but the flow charts of all of the culprits, all of the quote unquote cohorts. Yeah, somebody said, how did he break his neck with a bed sheet? You feel me? How did he break his neck with a bed sheet? His neck bone, according to the autopsy, the breaking of his neck was consistent of strangulation and of hanging, right? Unless I could see a picture of him hanging, they never produced a picture of him actually hanging, right? That was never shown. The actual bed sheet or the rope, that was never shown. He was murked. He was definitely murked. If he was not murked, his body was switched. See, the two things. Somebody ran up in there and bodied him while everybody looked away, or he was murked, okay? Or he was switched, my bad. There's been reports of a military personnel coming in there and basically bringing in a dead body and coming out with a live one. Okay? But I'm not going to get into the conspiratorial realm. What I do know is something happened. And regardless of however it happened, there's that he's in the eyes of the public, the man is dead, and that investigation and the opportunity to be able to peek behind certain curtains are going to be closed to a certain amount of people. Not all the people. There's going to be a percentage of the people who are going to pursue and who are going to walk through, who are going to have access to information and truth so they could be enlightened as to the rabbit hole and how deep it goes. There's going to be some people that's going to go down the hole. But then there's going to be some people that are going to jump on the next wave or the next roller coaster or the next carousel of the news cycle of some other shit that's going on and fly away with that. You know what I'm talking about? But, you know, yeah, they said the security guards were understaffed. How could a jail, right? Remember, they got a prison complex industry. And the jail that housed El Chapo, the jail that housed Jeff Epstein, the jail that housed Tekashi 6ix9ine, the jail that housed his roommate who was a cop who killed 4 cartel members and then buried them in his own backyard. And this nigga was on steroids. He looked like the nigga from the Avengers, this Mad Diesel from the Guardians of the Galaxy. You know what I'm talking about? So, yes, a homeless man could have got his neck broke, and then they could have brought that homeless man either in the cell or once they got Epstein out of the building on a gurney or wherever they were taking him, they could have switched the body then. It's not rocket science. It's not ultimately difficult when Bill Barr runs the jail and Donald Trump runs the jail, and whatever they say goes. Okay? For everybody that understands the structure of any kind of, you know, the hierarchy. Whatever comes from the top comes from the top. So now the job is on the shoulders of the ones who are fearless with disseminating the information, because if not for them, everything would be buried and it would be carry on. But for those of us that are investigating, and those of us who want to get to the bottom of certain things, and those of us who are interested in the fates of many missing women and many women who are being sex trafficked, those ADOS amongst us who are still into freeing slaves. Are there any ADOSs out there that are in the art of still freeing slaves on an underground railroad? Well, I need you to be one of the first contributors to the documentary and to both the lectures that we're doing, anything that we're doing to free the slaves, to put this information out, to wake people up so they could begin to feel, so they could speak up and they could stand up and they could free some of these slaves, because these are slaves that we're reporting about. On multiple levels, sex slaves, human trafficking. Jeff Epstein's old lady. Oh yeah, I saw a picture of her. I thought she was dead. The Maxwell. She's in where is she at? She's somewhere. She popped out. They saw a picture of her today or the other day, yesterday. She popped out. She's still free though. That just goes to show you. She's still free. She knows a lot. She has a whole lot of information and she's not gonna talk. You know what I mean? She's not gonna say a word. Yeah, she's in Massachusetts. She's in Massachusetts. Yeah, ADOS. But I feel they have a group of ex-soldiers and military personnel called the Underground Railroad. These are Europeans. and they go around freeing children that are being sex trafficked. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how legit they are. They may be alt-righters or whatever. I don't know. Don't get me to saying that these are some upright citizens. You feel me? Because ex-military shit, they probably in on it themselves. But they out there allegedly breaking up pedophile rings and helping some of these children get back to their families. And when I hear about all of the craziness that's going on, and then I'm reminded that there's over 1 million melanated children that are being exploited and missing just in the United States alone. Let's not even talk about overseas. Then I feel compelled to say, God damn it. Well, I know that I'm all powerful, and I know that my master teachers and my network and the people that I belong to, shit, we got the world on their heels right now. So it must be something powerful about us, because they got governments putting us on the top of their list. You know, there's something going on in these circles. You know, it's shaking up whole organizations. I don't know. What is it? I thought being woke was a joke, nigga. What is it about these you know, these people that they're calling radicals? It's the fact that every time one of us opens up our mouths, we might not see it, but one of their fucking mansions fall in the water. A mountain, there's an earthquake somewhere in Cali, nigga. Something happens. They're able to chart it because they're crunching data. And every time one of these lectures go out, every time somebody wakes up, every time that the matrix gets unplugged from, they feel that. They used to be busy drinking you niggas' tears. Now they got to check in and find out what's going on, because it's not a lot of tears to drink. Remember, all is mental. The real estate inside of your mind is some of the most coveted real estates. Don't fall for the gentrification. Inside of your pineal, inside of your melanated mind, that's the most priceless real estate on this planet. And those people, they want to live in there. They want to have residence in your minds and in your hearts. And that's changing. They want you to believe in Jesus, and that's changing. They want you to be slaves of their corporate structure, and that's changing. Nigga, they want you to accept the fact that you was a Slav and not enslaved, and that's changing. They want you to not acknowledge the fact that their time is running out, and that's changing. You know what I'm talking about? They want you to be scared of these motherfucking fragilicists and these inferiority complexes, and that's changing. They want you to hate yourself so you could destroy yourself and you could sabotage yourself, but that's changing. They want you to wear your hair all weird and shit, you know what I mean? Not really letting your antennas grow and admiring your natural selves. And that's changing. There's so many things that are changing. And it's a bunch of shit that remains the same, right? But that seems to be a real problem for people who are out here fucking little children, selling little children, eating little children, transporting little children, trafficking organs, selling drugs, raping the Boy Scouts, raping the motherfucking the little boys in the church, raping the little girls, you know what I'm saying, at the masseuse parlor, taking advantage, killing niggas in jail, doing all kind of shit, going across the world, killing babies as NGOs, killing them with the AIDS virus, killing them with all of this other Ebola shit, killing them with the you know, putting your hands into international affairs, starting wars, starting conflicts, capturing peoples, taking their organs, doing all of this stuff. There's a lot of shit going on while we out here trying to get our shit together. So the best advice that I would give to our people is to don't get caught up in this whirlwind. Remove yourself from chaos. It doesn't work for you. It don't look good on you. You know what I'm talking about? These people are chaotic as fuck. You gotta fall back and let this shit do what it do. You gotta put more energy into exposing. You gotta put more energy into breaking the veils. You gotta put more energy into pushing this motherfucker off the ledge. You gotta give more energy in breaking these windows, into crashing, you know what I mean? The illusion. Remember, the markets are crashing. Okay, the markets are crashing. The stock market crashed. You gotta crash this shit. And it's all mental first and foremost. And this is an intellectual war. So the words that come out of your mouth have to be words of power, words of truth. And you cannot be afraid to tell the truth. Don't waste your time speaking buffoonery, talking about nothing. Do not waste your time gossiping. Do not waste your time being a chatty patty. Do not waste your time spreading rumors and doing things of that nature. That is wayward shit. That is backwards. That's living backwards. That's the evils. Spend your life speaking words of power, standing on your motherfucking square, and speaking truth as you see this shit falling down. Niggas done did the heavy lifting. Fuck is you talking about, huh? Niggas done did the heavy lifting. We already ran up in Walmart like the baby. We did the heavy lifting. When you niggas got here, shit was already, niggas was laid out. Fuck is you talking about? When these woke niggas pulled up, shit was already laid. We already mowed it down. We had the devil on their tippy toes in the early 2000s. You know what I'm talking about? I'm like 6, 7, 8, 9. We was blowing shit up on Black Planet. And I'm not talking about just me. Before there was a fucking Black Planet, there was an underground DVD, VHS. Niggas had a route. Niggas had the Silk Road of information flowing. Fuck is you talking? As long as there was a UPS, shit was moving around. Like it is. Niggas had Donahue, Tony Brown's Journal, the series Eyes on the Prize. Before Hidden Colors came, there was Eyes on the Prize. Like, we had work. You just had to be around there and know how to get to it. We had York. Dr. York had pamphlets. The Nation of Islam had newspapers. Nigga, this is not new. This is not new. So when y'all got here, this shit was blown to pieces already. We already knocked the walls down. Nigga, you know what I'm saying? We already knocked the walls down. When you got here, this shit was mowed down. Meaning that when you woke up, or when you was unplugged from the matrix, when you took your woke pill, your red pill, when you saw Philandro Castile or Mike Brown or Trayvon Martin get murdered, and you got initiated, you got ritualistically initiated into a movement that was dealing with blood sacrifice from a victim standpoint. You didn't come into this shit on some old, yo, I want to just know who I am. I want to know about Kundalini. I want to know about melanin. You came in here a whole nother way. And then when you came in here, you didn't even know that there was no teachers. You didn't know about the movement. You was not aware of a whole fucking world that existed. Yes, you was watching slave porn. You niggas was watching slave porn. They was watching 12 Years a Slave, The Butler, The Help, Roots Reboot. You know what I mean? Roots After Dark. You know what I'm talking about? You know what I'm saying? Niggas said Roots and Culture. You know what I mean? Niggas was watching, you know, the Roots Picnic. All of that shit. Everything that could put you in a programmed Amistad. Everything that could put you in a programmed, controlled state. People were, that's what they were giving them. And then the movies, when they were programming us with colors, Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, Don't Drink Your Gin and Juice, all of these things. So There was, believe me when I tell you, and I'm not saying this in an arrogant braggadocio way. I'm just giving you the raw information until it's given to you in a docu-series form, really laid out. I'm giving you the pieces of it. This shit been booming. This is a 100-year dynasty. If you reincarnate or if you time travel into the 20s, they got it lit back then, brother. They was cooking back then with no internet, brothers and sisters. You know what I'm saying? They was speaking truth to power back then. You know? And here you go. You discover this new world. You discover this new world. But as soon as you discover this new world starts falling apart and self-destructing after 2016, whatnot. People are confused and unaware and, just somewhat lost. And then it goes into another phase. As it always does. It doesn't stay the same. This is an organic movement that's moving organically, so nothing stays the same. Nothing stays the same. Okay? Everything is forever changing and morphing, but it's still going in cycles. It's still centrifugal. Yeah, we got 600 plus live. That's right. Shout out to all of the family that's in the building. I'm gonna end this thing off tonight with the ancestor moon ritual so we could tap in to that ritual power, that ritual energy. You know what I'm talking about? That ritual money. Because it is about the bag, but it's not about the bag over everything. Okay? If that was the case, many of us would have the bag. It's not about the bag over everything. It's the bag with strings. It's a bag with some strings attached to it. So we're gonna once again unpack the Epstein thing. We're gonna unpack everything that's going on in that situation, and you'll be very interested in what was uncovered. I'm gonna tie in. I'm going all the way back to J. Edgar Hoover, and I'm gonna bring it up to today to show you the history of blackmail, sex, blackmail rings. For everybody that's so mystified by this concept of white supremacy and how these men have been able to stay in so much power and yield and wield so much power that you give them so much credit, I'm going to show you that powerful people do not sleep with 1-year-olds. Powerful people do not eat babies. Powerful people do not have orgies with young 14 and 13 and 12-year-old Boy Scouts. That's not what supreme people do. That's not what the powerful people do. Okay? And we're going to point out some other things that you need to know when it comes to these people. Because like I said, I'm not going to be diving all the way into this stuff now. You understand? We're going to let your imagination, because that's not, because some shit, I don't have to over-convince you about what this thing is. That's not my job. That's not my job. And there's a limit to where I'm willing to go to really dive all the way into this darkness. Not. Because this shit goes very dark. These are some sick people up to some real sick sadistic stuff. And nothing brings more joy to me than to just have more people aware about things that they haven't been aware of. I'm into shit like that. I'm into things like that. Especially when these people are the same people who are oppressing and distressing and arresting and molesting and finessing my people on a goddamn by a minute to minute basis. They don't let up. They on niggas' toes by the minute. It's a sadistic bunch. So it has to be unpacked. We have to decode it. We have to unravel it. We have to decipher it. We have to talk about this. This ain't no average talk, nigga. We ain't just talking. You know what I mean? No, we gotta decipher this. This has to be, we gotta break this down. We gotta sprinkle some shit on this. So, here we find ourselves tonight on this precarious day. This is the sturgeon moon. This is the ancestor moon. And I think tonight we've done a great job of paying homage to the ancestors. Because if each one of those names that I mentioned were alive, imagine what they would say about what's going on right now in the news. Imagine their quote unquote, what would Dr. Sebi say about the Impossible Burger and the rise of, Soylent Green, or the rise of, designer beef? You know what I'm saying? What would Dr. Francis Cress Wilson have to say about all of the mass shootings and the fact that the quote unquote president is one of he's the Night King? He's the wolf. What do they call him? The Wolf King. He's the Wolf King. He's out for blood. What would Dr. Blair say about the USA the USA government admitting that they've made that they've seen or they've been encountered by the third kind, flying saucers and things of that nature? What would they say? I would highly question that. I would highly question that. Are they proud of us? Are they working for us? Are we even keeping their names alive by still speaking them? We should say their names more than what we're saying. We should put their names out there for our babies, for our young ones, even the ones who think that they're too cool to know about our elders and our ancestors. Don't let that discourage you. Teach them who these people are. Put it in their subconscious. Make sure that they see it. Make sure that they hear these people speak. All of our ancestors, because they are the ones who cleared the way and paved the way to make it comfortable. We are all comfortable right now in our melanin and in our blackness and in our black excellence. The shit was cleared for a Jay-Z to come in and do what he does to pimp this whole shit. Like I said, that the whole diet woke movement, Puff, Jay, all of them, the diet woke. It's a marketplace. It's a marketplace. The same thing that Jesse and them, the same thing that Al Sharpton did. Shake down the corporations. Shake down the bag. Get a seat at the table. Don't turn the table over. Get a seat at the table. Difference between woke and conscious. Woke, seat at the table. You woke? You niggas woke up? You want a seat at the table. You crying about shit. You upset. You would like a seat. Right? You want a check, right? You want a seat at the table. You want them to give you something. You want to shake them down for a bag. Right? You want to shake them down for a check. You want to shake them down for some motherfucking, for some bread. That's called a seat at the table. Nigga. Yeah. No offense. But you want to negotiate the contract. You would rather negotiate the contract. At the end of the Matrix, Neo negotiated the contract. He became part of the Matrix. He walked into the Matrix. He renegotiated the contract. That's what he did. He didn't turn the table over. He did not defeat the Matrix. He did not keep going to war with the Matrix. He went into the Matrix to become one with the Matrix. He got a seat at the table. Then there's other people, namely ones that are more conscious, identified as conscious, not woke. They are there to turn over tables. They are there to destroy the table. Okay? That's a difference. That's a difference. Let's be able to identify what those differences are. Ones that are conscious, you can find them in the woke marketplace because it's a marketplace. You're going to tell somebody what market. There's not a lot of marketplaces in our culture. The new niggas got a bando marketplace. You got a fucking hot girl summer sex industry, sex worker marketplace. You have a drug pharmacopoeia bando. You know, niggas want to be Pablo, you know, Scarface type of marketplace where everybody sells illegal shit, Silk Road. Then you got woke marketplace. It's Curl Fest, it's Afro Punk, it's anything dealing with niggas' hair products. It's We Buy Black convention. It's the BLM convention. It's the NCAA convention. Anything that Rock Nation is doing, all of that shit, anything that Charlemagne is doing, anything that Tariq Nasheed is doing. That's a marketplace. It's a big market. It's $44 billion before the NFL deal. And I don't think that we've had this conversation as a community that marketplace is thriving and booming. I went to the Curl Fest, nigga, Target, all of the major corporations got products for your goddamn curls, for your afro. Everybody's in the market with you. They all there. You sisters go to the aisles in Target and in Whole Foods. You see who's making products for you right now. You going into major corporation and you seeing the merchandise and it says "Stay Woke" and all of these other things. These the Eye of Fatima and all of the iconography. The Kemetic iconography was the first one that they began putting on the shirts. And sometime in 2009, that's when they began to birth this whole quote unquote the woke industry was being infused. This is something that as a people we do need, because we need as many marketplaces as we can. But that marketplace can't be a code switching, buck dancing, butter biscuit, no morals, no code type of marketplace where niggas is just basically still trying to sit on a lap and lap dance somebody who's Philip Drummond like. White Zaddy. You know what I'm talking about? Because it's still the Matrix. You niggas thought you woke up, but no, you didn't. So, the next full moon will be on Thursday morning, August 15th, appearing opposite of the sun. The moon will appear full for about 3 days, centered around this time, from Tuesday night through Friday morning. The Maine Farmer's Almanac first published Indian names for the full moons in the 1930s. According to this almanac, as the full moon in August and the second full moon of the summer, the Algonquin tribes in what is now eastern USA call this the sturgeon moon, after the large fish that were more easily caught this time of year in the Great Lakes and other major bodies of water. This moon was also called a green corn moon. Green corn. This full moon corresponds with the Hindu festival Raksha Bandhan, celebrating the bond between brothers and sisters. One of the traditions is for sisters of all ages to tie a rakhi around their brother's wrists, receiving a gift from the brother in return as a sign of the continuing bond between them. The term Raska Bandhan translates as the bond of protection, obligation, or care. The full moon corresponds to the Chinese Hungry Ghost Festival. The seventh moon of the Chinese calendar is the ghost month of the 15th day of this month. It's called a ghost day, on which ghosts and spirits, including those of deceased ancestors, come out to visit the living. For Star Trek fans, a note on the author Theodore Sturgeon. Oh, no. This article is from NASA's website. I'm reading NASA's website. Let me read something else real quick about this moon. This is the full moon in Aquarius. It's not unheard of to experience a swell of feelings as the moon beams in its fullest phase. A full moon is a time during which we experience peak emotions, especially if that moon is intertwined with love. Feelings may run amok around August 15th when a full moon is in Aquarius and affected by Venus, the planet of love. The August 2019 full moon might not be all fireworks and sparks, but it sure will be fiery. The full moon is opposite Venus by only 20 degrees orb, which is very strong. While Venus has a soft, loving influence, the opposition makes this a challenging moon phase. This could be a helpful aspect of the full moon. You will clearly see any relationship dynamics or negative feelings causing disharmony. Okay? And if you want to get a little more research, there's videos on the internet that's explaining the whatchamacallit, that's explaining more about the moon. All right, more about the moon, so you could get a better understanding. You could even do some rituals. You know, there's videos where you could tap into doing some rituals, and that's on the internet as well. So with that being said, I want to thank everybody for tuning in tonight. Once again, before we leave you, please make sure y'all are in the building on Sunday. I would love for 600 of y'all to be there. It's only a dub, $20. You know what I mean? Go to Eventbrite and put in Into Deep 2, the number N, the letter N, the number N, no, the letter N, the number 2, DEEP, and another number 2. And hashtag, if you don't find it by putting that in, you can put in white supremacy decoded. Hold on. ADOs are the only one in masses that are pro-black. What do you mean by that? And explain that to me. Explain that to me. Into Deep 2 and white supremacy. Yes, it's an Into Deep 2 is the name of the series, and the episode that we'll be doing is the white supremacy exposed. That's on Sunday. Yes. All right. Yeah, Into Deep 2, just like that. Yep. So go and check that out on Eventbrite, and I will see y'all on Sunday. And I want to thank. Yes, it's on Eventbrite. That's where it's going to be. And the lecture will be on Zoom. It will be a Zoom lecture where I will be sharing my screen. You'll be able to see me in a small box, but I'll be doing a 100+ page lecture, all visuals laid out, 150+ pages of all visuals, breaking down what it is that the lecture entails. All right? So with that being said, love and light to the family. You know, go and do some work tonight. Yeah, and for everybody hitting up the Cash App, appreciate that. I get a lot of hits after the show goes to YouTube and whatnot, you know, and I appreciate that, especially since y'all know that, YouTube has not monetized this channel ever since it started. You know, this is a labor of love. But as we do know, we at war, and we got things to do. We got a lot of things that have to be created out of nothing, because we're not with the NFL or the NBA or the NCAA. You dig? With that being said, though, love and light to the family. Peace. Shout out to Empress B444. All right. Make sure y'all go listen to her podcast. And with that being said, see you on Monday, Melanin Monday.